We'll call the meeting to order, this business session. We'll stand here and have a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance, and we'll ask Cora Cox with 4-H come forward, and we'll do the pledge of allegiance after we have a moment of silence. Thank you for that. Come on up.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Thank you for that.
Good job.
All right, so brings us to public input. Do we have anybody on public input? All right. Then that's to the approval of the agenda, and we got a couple things to add under the field trips, if you don't mind. I think these were laid out for you. Jefferson County High School forensic speech and debate. Probably need to get that approved because they're supposed to leave tomorrow. And Jefferson County High School mock trial team. Those were 2 field trips that had been added. And just a clarification that didn't get put into the actual agenda, but this is for the budget agenda. General purpose, number 1 should read General Purpose Fund 141, number 12, items 1 through 11, and that got left off. And then budget amendment number 2 for Federal Purpose Fund 142, number 7, items 1 through 4. That's how that should read. Once again, those just got left off. But is there any objections? The budget amendments? Page 2 there.
The first one was 1 through 11.
Yeah, items 1 through 11, and
The
then
bottom is number 7, items 1 through 4.
yeah, it just got left off of there. But nothing got changed in your actual budget amendment. Is there any objection to these additions? Hearing none, then we'll have a unanimous approval. Everybody approve? Show by raising your right hand. Unanimous approval then of the agenda. So then brings us to consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve all the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Is there a second?
So moved.
I believe Danny has motion and Bill has seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda item, show by raising your right hand. And be 7 for, 0 against. Thank you on that. And then we're down to number 5, committee reports, and we'll start with on policy committee here. We have some new ones on first reading, and then we have some on second reading here. And since these are coming from the committee, they only need a motion, don't need a second. So I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Doug here.
All right, and the policy committee recommends the following policy revisions for acceptance on first reading. The first one is policy 6.312, use of personal communication devices and electronic devices. On here, what we've done is you will notice on the proposed agenda, there hasn't been any revisions made on our present policy. The present policy that's in place is not being changed. What we have done, the major revision here is replacing the existing, how shall I say, enforcement procedures for infractions that is now in the student or the teacher handbook in policy to standardize it throughout the district. So we're really not changing anything, we're just adding that to the policy. There are a couple, word changes on the first page on line number 3. Students may possess personal communication devices and personal electronic devices. The devices prior to this, it said should be stored. We are putting must be stored. We're suggesting that. Going down to the line number 8 under students. What we did is, because this hasn't been revised in quite a while, and these electronic devices, I mean, there's a new one every other day, it seems like. We're just trying to enumerate categories so that we can kind of keep up to date. So we're adding including but not limited to smart devices such as AirPods, watches, Google Glass, etc. So we're adding that where it was not there before. In line 14, it used to be pre-K through 5th, and then I believe there was a middle school category. We're eliminating that and putting 6th through 12th. So we're modifying that. And then the first offense, second offense, all subsequent offenses, again, that's not a change, we're just adding that to policy from what it is in the existing handbook. On page 2, what we're doing is under the category buses, and line 4, we're adding driver/monitor, since now we have monitors, and before, when we did this, we did not have monitors. And then number 7, we're adding use of cameras on personal communication devices is strictly prohibited on school buses. So, this passed the policy committee unanimously. So on first reading, I'm moving that we accept this on first reading.
All right, the move's been made to accept this on first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving 6.312 on the first reading, show by raising your right hand. Be 7-4 and 0 against. All right, thank you on that. Next one.
The next one is policy 6.702, student clubs and organizations. This was brought to us by Commissioner Mayer, and I will kind of read just graphically what's on here, and then she can add anything if I miss something. What this is doing is we are just qualifying the kind of clubs. There seems to be all kinds of clubs that are not, it used to be the STAM club or something like this, but there's all kinds of other clubs, and we just want to make sure that they are qualified to be in our schools. What we're doing is we are leaving that up pretty much to the school principal and the director of schools. If they say no, they do not want a club on campus, we are putting in here that there is no further appeal to the board. Somebody can't say, well, I don't agree with that, I want the board to see it. We are cutting that. We feel that the principals are the captains of their own ship. They know what's best on their campus. And if they say yes, then we would like to have that brought to us, very much the same as they bring the field trips, and we just see where kids are going and stuff like that. According to Dr. Arnold, there's not going to be that many of these clubs that probably come to our attention. And as I say, we're not taking any control away from the schools. If they say no, that's it. Down lines 15 through 12 are the qualifications. We're asking people who have organizations or clubs that they want to establish on the school. These are what we want them to know that we expect them to have. These can be, it's really up to the principal and the director as to how strictly they want to adhere with these, but we don't want people coming in from some crazy group that we've never heard of. We want them to be either chartered or incorporated in the state of Tennessee. We want the people who want to have the clubs to be, you know, adults, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have to go through all this. So that's all I have to say on this. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything else to add?
You covered it just fine.
Okay, so that being the case, I move that we adopt this for first reading.
All right. Move been made to adopt 6.702 on first reading. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving 6.702 on first reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4, 0 against. All right, now we're on to second reading.
Second reading. These, the following policy revisions were passed on first reading and are recommended for adoption as policy on second reading. The first one has agenda. If you'll remember, that agenda is just being included. No changes being made to 1.403. That's just here for reference. Number 2, 1404, appeals to and appearances before the board. This changes the public appearance to allowing public input at the work session on any item that relates to the school district, and restricts the public input at the business meetings to items on the agenda. This was passed first, and I move that it be adopted on second. So move, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, move's been made to pass 1.404 on second reading. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving 1.404 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4, 0 against.
Next one is 1405. This changes the rule of order. What this does is this adds the pledge and a moment of silence to our work session. It also moves the budget amendment where it's placed in our agenda from where it is presently to new business, after new business. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved to approve 1.405 on second reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving 1.405 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. All those opposed? That'd be 6-1.
The next is policy 4.603, promotion and retention.
4.202.
Special education.
What's that?
4.202. I think they got them out of order. Special education.
Why don't you go, I don't have that. That's not on my, special education was, what is that now?
4.202.
4.202. Okay, special education,
Yeah, she's got it right there.
thank you.
He just ain't got it in his notes. He ain't got that
Yeah.
policy.
I know we passed this on first reading.
Oh, we did.
He just got left
Yeah,
out.
just
Okay,
go
it
by
just got left out.
just go by the agenda.
That's fine, yeah. It was passed on first reading. I do not have the specifics here.
It was added, a initial, questionnaire to parents
Oh, the questionnaire for parents. I
and
remember.
an exit interview
Yes,
after the,
okay.
the meeting. So that was added in there. We've since reviewed some of those procedures and just recommend that be added so that everyone is in the know
That's
of
fine.
the procedures.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 4.202 on second reading. Any discussion?
On that, I know that there was, talk about when that would possibly be implemented. Is there any way that that could be implemented sooner than next school year? I mean, and the only reason why I say that is I know a lot of these annual IEPs are starting to come through, usually at the end, through mid-April through May. And I just think that this is very important for the parents to have a voice.
You know, we have, and you're talking about 50-some teachers across 12 different schools need this implemented. So the main thing is that we get it right. You know, once we start something, the way we start it is usually the way that it continues. So I need at least 30 days at a minimum to get in front of teachers, to have our people, to direct them, principals, and make sure that we're all on the same page of when we send this out, how we send it out, how we collect it on both ends of pre-meeting and post-meeting. So if this passes today, I'd ask for at least, you know, mid-April to get this implemented.
Now there being two different forms, the one would be a parental input, which would be, the way I was liking to see this done would be, it'd be put into, when there's an IEP meeting notice, and that would be included on that. And then as soon as the meeting is over, and then that can be turned in at the meeting. And then when the meeting is over, they're handed a physical form that's a parental survey, basically just kind of reviewing over what they thought about the meeting, and then, you know, then that's up to the parents if they want to turn it in or even fill it out. Maybe it was.
Yeah,
you know,
all forms would have multiple modes of completion. If they wanted to complete a hard copy and turn it in, if they want to complete an online form and turn it in, we would send a link. We would probably send a QR code, so that, you know, they have the capabilities for whatever mode they find most convenient for them to complete.
Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving 4.202 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4, 0 against.
Okay, policy 4.603, promotion and retention. This is a policy revised to comply with the updated state regulations. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 4.603 on second reading. Any discussion? All right, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving 4.603 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. It'll be 7-4, 0 against.
Policy 5.118, background investigations. Again, policy revised to comply with present state law. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 5.118 on second reading. Any discussion? We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving 5.118 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4, 0 against.
Policy 5.302, sick leave. This is to allow sick leave rollover, unused sick leave rollover from one year to another for school bus drivers and monitors. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 5.302 on second reading. Discussion?
Coach has a way of waiting, making himself known.
His old man fell off.
I thought that was his cane.
Come out.
Product of the low bid.
All right.
Danny done it.
Here's none for the discussion. All those in favor of approving 5.302 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4-0 against. Next.
Policy 5.303, what we are adding is personal, professional bereavement, and locally we're adding grandchildren to the coverage. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 5.303 on second reading. Any discussion? We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving 5.303 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4-0 against.
Policy 6.319, alternative education, policy revised to reflect state law changes. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 6.319 on second reading. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving 6.319 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4-0 against.
Policy 6.4001, student surveys, policy change due to state law changes. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move has been made to approve 6.4001 on second reading. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor of approving 6.4001 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. 7-4-0 against.
Policy 106.4031, pediculosis, head lice, update policy to reflect current treatment standards. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Move's been made to approve 6.4031 on second reading. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving 6.4031 on second reading, show by raising your right hand. And that takes care of that 7-0. Thank you for all that. Next portion is just a report from the Building and Maintenance Committee Chairman, Mr. Paul Hardy, so I'll turn the floor over to him.
Thank you. Yeah, we met on February 25th, 2 weeks ago, on Tuesday. And,
Mike?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we met on Tuesday, February 25th. We had a lot of, I think, productive input from everybody. And some of the things that was discussed was possibly looking at how the maintenance is set up is maybe needing, doing more of a maintenance crew versus having just individual maintenance guys at each school. Another thing that was discussed was, doing kind of like a timesheet of each individual job they work on throughout the day, more of an accountability timesheet, to kind of see where their time is being spent on different types of projects they're working on, and maybe using that as kind of incentive for maybe not a bonus, but maybe you look when it comes time for pay raises, stuff like that. Anyway, so there were several things that were brought up. One of the concerns that there was made was how we direct traffic in front of the schools, and the safety of the personnel doing it. I know that, like at the high school, we have, Mr. Rogers, the principal's out there, and then on Dublin Valley, I believe there's another principal, or somebody, another school employee, and how that could maybe contribute to being a liability versus having actual police out there. We may need to look at maybe something, and Brooke can maybe try to bring it to the board, is maybe hiring personnel that will actually come in and do that in the morning and the evening, because the thought was that if there is an accident, these people aren't properly trained, and then I think that we could be actually looking at a liability, because using them non-trained personnel. I do know that at it was brought to my attention, like White Pine, I think the police up there used to do a lot of the road, the traffic control. And I think this year they no longer do it. I know down in front of Jefferson Elementary and Jefferson Middle they do, and we really appreciate Jefferson City supplying that. So this may be something that we need to look at as a board, is possibly, especially with budget time coming up, maybe something of adding this position. So overall though, I think that there was a lot of positive input from most all the members, and the engagement went well. Another thing that we thought about doing was, instead of doing this quarterly, there may be a lot of time that, maybe not a lot of stuff gets done, takes too slow. Maybe we might start meeting monthly, at least in the beginning, and then, as we kind of progress into the committee meetings, we can maybe start stretching it back out. So these are just different things that were kind of thrown up. Dr. Arnold wasn't there, so it's kind of hard to throw some ideas off to him at the time, but I do have a meeting set up with Dr. Arnold and Mr. Bridgewater, and we'll discuss a lot of this stuff and see how that goes. The other thing that seemed to be maybe a problem was the time we met was 4:30. May kind of crunch into some of these people who actually do go to work. I know we had one gentleman comes from Oak Ridge, somebody else comes from Dollywood. I mean, that's quite a travel time to get there someplace at 4:30. So we may have to adjust that and maybe make it a little bit more feasible for some community members that just want to come in and sit in on the meetings. So, I mean, that's pretty much about what I have for that. I appreciate Commissioner Bradley being part of that. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, looks like, yes, traffic control, one source would be constables. I know they've done that before, particularly at Maury. We might want to reach out to those first, but a good idea, hiring somebody. My only thoughts were, I believe, Maury, the person directing traffic is part of the maintenance department. Am I correct on that? So, I'd rather be doing maintenance, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Austin would like to have him on the job at 7 o'clock. So, and of course, I go through that school along the law, and Dandridge also. The only thing too, it's a little misleading. There's a police car sitting over there, and you see the guy out in the middle of the road. Well, they don't match. He's not a policeman, but he's got a police car there. So it's a little confusing, and it could be, like you said, and I brought that up, a liability issue. They've not had any training in directing traffic or crowd control or whatever, and they're a school employee and they're on a state road, right? Now, I can see on school grounds, right, no problem. But once you hit a county road or a state road and an accident occurs, or even somebody hits that person, what we do now, right? Who's responsible for his well-being? And so I just, God forbid something happens, but you got to look to the future a little bit. But thanks for letting me speak. That's all I got.
Well, and I think the other thing too, kind of spinning off of what Commissioner Bradley said was, when you're talking about a principal out there doing that, the resource officer that may be outside the school, if something happens within the school, who is in charge that's inside, who can deal with that? And that was another concern
Yeah,
that we had to.
me personally, I don't think the resource officers should be out away from the school. They should be inside the walls or inside the fence or something. I mean, early in the mornings and is when things could possibly could happen. I mean, there's no evidence of that. But another thing we discussed, I believe I mentioned the chain of command. If anybody needs anything with the maintenance department, Austin, they need to go to this guy here because Austin works for him, right? And if you have any requests, just get in contact with the director. He's more than willing to work with us. I think he's exhibited that, and anything you need, he'll get it for you. But to put pressure on them, say, and Tommy probably knows where more of the documents are than Austin would. And that way Austin can do his job. He started at what time? 5 o'clock in the morning, you told me, didn't you? About 5, or is it earlier than that?
I can't start at 5. Usually 6:30, like.
He's drinking coffee.
Yeah.
I know he does it 7 days a week if needed.
But you don't get up till 6:30 in the morning either, do you?
No, he's doing a good job. I would like to say that.
Yeah, we don't like to direct traffic. I mean, that's not something we like to do. You know, we had a school security vehicle ran over at Dandridge, sitting in the road, by an individual. But you have to remember, also Dandridge has 2 officers on duty and 3 schools. The high school, Dandridge Elementary, and Maury within their jurisdiction. So, you know, it either comes to the point of traffic gets directed or doesn't. But, you know,
Well, the high
it's
school.
not something we want to do, then we just do away with it.
Well, the high school's got red lights, and I've seen them work, and it goes pretty good. So that does not, the only thing, if an officer is out there, is to catch somebody speeding in the school zone. As far as that, the red lights kind of take care of everything. Now down, you know, exiting the school might be a different kind of story. You know, we probably, like I said earlier, I hate to repeat myself, the first people to contact the constables. You know, they got elected for a reason, and the people, I know me, the constable is at Dandridge, I voted for him when he was out there working, but I think he had illness or something that did it. I can't remember his name, Jerry Colt, is that his name?
There's a
And
new
that was a
one
long
in there.
time ago.
Yeah, there's a new one in.
Yeah, but anyway, just a thought. I mean, it was a good, like, Mr. Hardy said, it was a good meeting. It was a little long. We may have to put some, I'm gonna bring an egg timer next time, so. But there was a lot of discussion, you know, and a lot of times, we didn't have, and, you know, things got going, you know, and I couldn't keep up with it all, but there were some good ideas thrown out there. But those ideas need to be by you or me, representing the board, channeled to the director of schools. And then he can bring them to us, and we can sift through them and sort them out, what we want to do, right? Basically, what I was telling them was anything that an idea that they had, and it required money, or about only one time during the year that can happen, and we're getting ready to start the budget season. After that, you know, we gotta have a balanced budget. And like the federal government, I don't wanna be derogatory, but they do tend to spend more than they have, you know. We gotta stay within limits. And so if we get it, if there's a good idea pops out, we need to run it through the finance director and the director of schools and get it funded and go from there. It's just the way it is, you know. So I try to explain that to them, but I like hearing all these ideas. I mean, you get fired up, won't they?
Yeah.
Now and then. So I guess you could be the bouncer and me one, I don't know which, if it gets really heated, you know.
I thought maybe once or twice it was gonna
Yeah.
happen.
I'll bring the stick next time.
You know, and the meeting started a little bit slow. I think there was a lot of hesitation on people not knowing what to say, and you know, you have a mix of school officials and private citizens, and you know, I think once it started going with one topic specifically, it kind of got a little bit off topic, but we saw a lot of engagement happen, and so I let it go for a little bit, and it really produced a lot of engagement from everybody, and then we kind of had to bring it all back in. But then once that happened, it kind of got moving. But yeah, it did kind of stretch out. One thing we are going, that I think that we need to get and I reached out to, the one lady was, somebody to kind of keep track of the discussion points that we had, and so we kind of have more of a meeting minutes, and then she can kind of round up at the end of things that we had discussed. And then, like Coach said, somebody kind of say, hey, let's keep on track, you know, because we could go, and I think that, you know, I really didn't want it to go too long. I think we were there with 2 hours.
Well, it passed quick.
Yeah.
Until I got out in the Jeep, and I said, I can't believe I've been
Yeah.
this long, you know. But
Yeah.
one thing I did notice, we had, 8 people besides you and me and Austin, director, and there's 8 more. I think those people that showed up for the meeting, I think there was one absent,
There
but
was one
they were
absent.
quite excited to be there and be included. Okay, and at the end of the day, and some of them were teachers, and, you know, and probably would rather have been at the house, but they were there and they were throwing things out there, and that was good. So the committee is a good idea. I'm done, you know, we can move on if you want.
Well, and I just to end it, I do know that we got approved the assistant maintenance supervisor. It got approved back in January through the county commission, and it has been posted this week, and it'll run for 10 days. So hopefully we'll get some interest in that, and until then, we'll just see what happens.
Mr. Chairman, one thing.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention, our next policy committee meeting is August 25th. I know that because that's my anniversary, and I'll be spending it with the policy
You
committee.
remember? Good
I
boy.
may be single after that, but who knows? But however, if anybody wants to bring a policy to the committee prior to that, all you have to do is let us know. If it's urgent, we can call a special meeting. If not, the next one is August 25th.
All right, thank y'all, appreciate y'all doing that committee and all the folks that, came out. I'm sure as things goes on, people gets more familiar and everything will, there's no telling. Hopefully it'll be a really productive thing for us. All right, so then that brings us now to the budget amendments here. So we have 2. Once again, I'll reiterate the additions to it that got left off. General Purpose Fund 141, number 12, items 1 through 11, and Federal Purpose Fund 142, number 7, items 1 through 4. So, is there a motion on the first budget amendment?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made to approve by Doug, and we have a second by Paul. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah.
The item 1 on Fund 141 for the science book, is that for the books? Is that the science books that we're reviewing this year? Is this money for those,
Yes, that is money that we are recognizing. So the money's there.
yes,
We're just recognizing it into an expenditure line.
and it is for the science book?
It is for the science book.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Are we actually using these books? Because I'm hearing more and more we're moving away from books and doing more on the computers. Are we actually,
So there's multiple ways to purchase books. Just as anybody in this room, some people choose to read a book, some people have a Kindle, read it off a Kindle, some people have audio books and hear it. So books have a multitude of modes that they can be accessed. So this, in the past, Jefferson County Schools has bought books. So we bought a reading edition, we bought a math edition, and I don't know what direction this will go, but we normally buy books. Actually, online books are more expensive than hardback books because just the adaptations that can happen from year to year change. So I don't know, we're kinda old school, but we do buy books. Now, there was, you mentioned about using computers. I don't remember the last science adoption, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's probably been 15 years ago, that there was, I don't even know the last science adoption. So teachers were using resources that we didn't provide them. That's one thing that we want to get away from, is teachers having to go out and get their own resources. Number one, that doesn't protect them against state law that they need to remain on the curriculum, using the standards and not deviate from. So we need to provide them that curriculum.
Any other discussion on this amendment? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving general purpose fund 141, number 12, items 1 through 11, show by raising your right hand. That'd be 7 for and 0 against. Is there a motion in regards to federal purpose fund 142? Have a move by Danny, is there a second? Second by Paul. Any discussion? Alright, all those in favor of approving federal purpose fund 142, number 7, items 1 through 4, show by raising your right hand. 7 for, 0 against. Alright, no unfinished business. And that brings us down to new business. We got 6 items under here. 3 resolutions. Certified employees recommended for 10-year property behind Talbot Elementary and in Jefferson Elementary School. Is there a move to approve resolution number 2025-136, student nutrition surplus? Dawn makes a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Doug has seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving resolution number 2025-136, student nutrition surplus, show by raising your right hand. 7 for, 0 against, motion passes. To hear a motion on resolution number 2025-137, transportation surplus.
So moved.
Mr. Hardy has moved to approve, is there a second? Dawn, second.
I do want to note that this vehicle has been asked for by the highway department. So it has some issues that we're not going to repair. So it's scrap for us. They have their own mechanics at the highway department, and I think that they actually maybe have an engine that they're going to put in. So that's where this vehicle's going.
That was a question I was gonna ask, what's that vehicle for?
To us, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, any more discussion on this one? Alright, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 2025-137, transportation surplus, show by raising your right hand. 7 for, 0 against, motion passes. Next one, to hear a motion to approve resolution number 2025-138, technology surplus. Got a move by Danny, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Doug, any discussion? Yes,
I just have a question. I just was going through this and I just noticed a lot of laptops and, just a lot of different, computers and stuff. I understand they kind of get older, they phase out or whatever. Where do these end up going? Do they get tore apart or work? How does that work?
We have an e-cycle company that picks them up. Yeah, it's kind of like our light bulbs, fluorescent light bulbs that we had. You know, it cost $1.97 to buy them and $4 to throw them away. So the e-cycle,
Yeah, so.
she can speak a little bit about that. She loves to get some airtime
That's
in front of the
It's
camera.
okay. So the laptops, like if parts of them are broken and we can't repair them anymore, we will take them for parts and scrap the rest. Some are just like not Windows 11 compatible anymore, so they've been swapped out for devices that are. But we do have an e-cycling company out of Knoxville that comes and picks up our surplus. And they will give us a certificate of, for our hard drives, showing that they've been disposed of properly.
That's what I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking. Thank you. I do have one other question. So I noticed all of these and it lists the, usually it's schools and stuff like that this stuff comes from. Are these just as the year goes on or whatever, they get kind of turned in one at a time, or is this something where they've just said, okay, you know, I don't know, 12th grade, these are all gone, we're gonna give you all new ones?
So, let's see, last year we mostly replaced 6th, 7th, and 8th grade laptops,
Okay.
just to bring in new ones that were Windows 11 compatible.
Okay.
So middle schools all have new ones. 5th grade we did this year, so that's probably what a lot of those are as well. We're getting ready to replace 4th grade. And then all the ones that we pulled back that we can put 11 on, we're gonna put out to 3rd grade. So everybody, because by October, everybody has to be on 11. So we should be able to have everybody on 11 over the summer.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And high school's already been done.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor of approving resolution number 2025-138 technology surplus, show by raising your right hand. All right, 7 for and 0 against. And that brings us to certified employees recommended for tenure. Is there a motion on this list? Moved by Danny to approve the list of certified employees recommended for tenure. Is there a second? Paul, second. Any discussion on these? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the list of certified employees recommended for tenure, show by raising your right hand. All right, that'd be 7 for, 0 against. That brings us down to the property behind Talbot Elementary. I'm gonna let the director talk about this for just a second, and then we'll.
So there's a little bit of property that joins Talbot Elementary. It has an older house on the property. It's located on the name just left me, the road, North White Pine Road. And it's located past the ball field playground on the back side of the property. One thing is, you know, we're getting ready to start a renovation. We're gonna need a lay down. It's kind of tight in that school. So we do have a use for this property. Also, that school is on a drip field. You know, if you ever need to relocate some additional lines or anything, it could be useful. So I would put that it is, you know, we bought the property down at Rush Strong. It didn't have a house setting on it, so that adds a little bit of value to it. Right now, the owner's first price to Austin, she had done some research, look at market value of highs and lows, came up with about a price of $150,000. So that would be a first offer. I would imagine if you move for us to go after this property, we would need roughly about know, I would feel comfortable at 10,000 additional dollars added to that to be able to have, you know, any survey, closing costs, those type of things. But, you know, totally up to you all as far as
How
that
many
goes.
acres is there in that property?
It's a little under an acre, off the top. You remember Austin?
How many acres?
It's a hair under an acre. I'm gonna say 3/4 of an acre.
And we'll demolish the house, right?
Gone. Yeah, we would. Oh, yeah. Kind of like at Rush Strong, where we bought that property, demolished the fence. That building's still there. We'll get to that sometime, but,
So really, for us, that house would have had no value to us for that property.
no, we're not gonna get in the business of being a landlord.
No.
We just want the property.
I was just wondering if we're gonna use it for a chicken.
Yeah, like if you so choose, we would just turn that into the initial, start of a building project there. As soon as equipment comes in, we'd load everything out, clear that property, clear the fencing, clear the scrub brush, probably rock it, and use it as a laydown yard for steel, block, brick, mortar, equipment.
Good staging areas.
Right. Yeah, it has an access drive into it already, so there's some benefits there that could definitely help us, because that's where we want to access the renovation. So,
How much would it cost to get our own, that survey done and cost, cost estimate?
I'd say to get a survey done,
Well, not survey, but for us to get an estimate of the value of the land. I mean, apparently the owner done
Yeah.
their research and came up with a
Right.
number. So, is there somebody we use or have used, and you know what I'm talking about?
yeah, we got a lot of connections with some realtors.
That would
I
actually give us
think
an
Yeah.
estimate of what the
Yeah,
value of the
I mean, yeah. And just in talking, you know, I don't feel like that it's an astronomical price. I feel like it's a fair market value. You know, I think it's a little bit on the higher end of the fair market value. But, I mean, it's no different than, I mean, stuff's expensive, you know. Down there where I live just the other day, there was a single wide trailer on a 3/4 acre property sold for $185,000. You know, I looked at it, I thought maybe 120, but, I mean, somebody wants it, they buy it.
I think we need to understand that they're selling it with the house. So if they sold it to somebody, they're selling it as the house.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it sounds like a lot, 3/4, even if it was 1 acre, you're saying, wow, $150,000 for an acre. If we don't get it, someone's gonna move into that. We need to understand that. It's not that it's that much for 3/4 of an acre,
Yeah.
you know.
And the thing is, you know, we may throw out a price if you so choose. I mean, just as we went to Rush Strong, I mean, you know, we're just seeing if that's something you want to do. It's up to you all. You all make that decision, and, you know, if you so choose, we'll make it happen.
I like to see Austin negotiate with them and come back with a price on it and go from there. I don't think we should just jump up, we're gonna take it for $150,000.
Right.
I think you should negotiate with them and talk to them and go from there.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should get any real estate people involved until he talks and comes back to us.
One thing I just want you to be aware of is, anything you do has to go in front of county commission, which meets in April. Which our next meeting's in April.
Ours is before their next meeting, is it not?
And that is a time frame to get something in front of budget and before, the full commission. So that time frame is tricky, without approval. So, also, just bottom line is, if it doesn't happen in April, then May's too late for us to utilize.
What's your idea as to how to handle it?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I think if you approve a use of funds, we'll stay under that amount and just tell them. So if you approve right now 100 blank amount of money, if you approve 150, we'll just go back to them and say, hey, this is what we got. We like to buy it for 135. Then that'll cover our cost, and we can go from there. It's totally up to you, what you feel comfortable with. I personally want to see us get that property, and it would really help with that renovation. If not, we're going to be laying down where the kids play, and we're going to cram them into a small amount of they're already kind of strained up there for space. So, yes, sounds like a lot of money. We're going to be there for 2 years, close to it, 18 months anyway.
What kind of house? Is it a brick house, a frame house, or?
Wood house.
Just an old wood house.
Yeah,
Wood side.
1960 type
I
house.
remember.
So, it's got a crawl space foundation. Oh, yeah.
So, is this something they're definitely gonna put on the market if we don't buy this? Or is this something they just offered to us?
Yeah, we found out that she might possibly want to sell, so we went to her. I do not know the intent of moving forward on the property, kind of like that property at Rush Strong. They were going to put it on the market, but offered it to us prior to.
It benefited us there.
Oh yeah, parking, and it's only going to get better. Same type of thing as far as, at Talbot. The Rush Strong property, we ended up closing through Church, Larry Church, that usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks to finalize everything.
Is there somebody living in it right now?
No.
But the house is.
But it's livable, it is livable.
They have to get all their stuff. I'm just gonna be straight out here with you. This is my wife's aunt. And they've moved to, when her mother passed away, they're living in their house now. And if the people that live beside her are possibly, if we don't move, they wanna move, so the farm beside them. And I had she'd said something to me, and I said, I'll let Tommy know about it. I'll pull myself out of the equation.
And I think one thing we need to really consider this very serious, because if we don't move on it, and she does decide to sell it, and it sounds like it's just a matter of time, you don't know who buys it. And there's a house I'm gonna use up there at Rush Strong, up there by the top, that you know, it worries me. It's a rental property, and it's not a good scenario right there, in my opinion. And, so I think that we really do need to consider this, if for anything, for not just the construction side of this, but if we don't move on it, and we could use this, you know, like I said, you know, my concern is, you know, if it becomes rental property or something like that, you have no control over who's gonna be in that house, and that kinda worries me with, it being on school grounds.
Well, Dr. Arnold, did you not also say that, you know, after the renovation is done, this could possibly be used to help the drop off and pick up traffic flow?
I know that Mr. Jarnigan had requested that we consider in the renovation traffic flow and, you know, the sheriff, the constable up there, they all want cars off the road. There's just not much we can do right now with what we have. So anything would help. It's an option. We've not studied it beyond a place for a lay down yard and space to be able to get access to, you know, that guardrail comes almost all the way up our property, and the state won't allow us to move that. And so to be able to get that access to that end of the property, it would be beneficial.
Go ahead.
Oh, you should.
Finish, go ahead.
You just- I mean, I feel like this is something Dr. Arnold was concerned about. Feels like we can use it. It will benefit us. I kind of feel like we need to go by what this gentleman says and make a motion to approve him to buy this property.
I would just need an amount and source, and you know, like we said, we feel like that it would be no more than right around, you know, 155. We could secure the property.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I'll support anything, this school is in your district, your district. I'll support anything that is agreeable with you two on the price of that property. I'm not familiar with it that much. And so whatever figure you all want to make a motion, I'll vote for it. I'll support you.
Is the property zoned for agriculture or residential? Or, does it say on?
I couldn't find it, I looked at that already, I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it wasn't in the green belt. I know it's not, you know, any type of industry or that nature. I would imagine it's just what would be considered a residential lot.
I couldn't find anything when I looked at it yesterday.
I guess the question would be with the zoning of it, whether it's A1 or R1, would that preclude us using it as a staging area?
No,
Okay,
no, we're not building anything on it.
right.
So, you know, I don't, it's not as if there's somebody right next to it that it would impede upon their property rights or anything of that nature. It's farmland, those cows wouldn't care.
Yeah, as long as there's nothing that would exclude us from using it for what we want to use it for.
And that would be temporary. That purpose would be temporary while the construction went on.
It doesn't have anything, it says land use code zoning, it doesn't have anything next to it.
Yeah, there's not, I don't have any concerns there, not putting anything on the property.
So would that have any effect on the price, depending on what
But
it's?
it definitely would if it was, you know, similar to the Rush Strong property. You know, you're looking at you know, roughly a $35,000 lot versus that down at Rush Strong was a commercial $120,000 lot, so, you know, just being a residential lot, you're just standard type price of, you know, somewhere between $25,000 to $35,000 lot for a building lot.
You made a motion, I'll second that motion.
Who made the motion?
Danny made a motion, I'll second that motion.
What was the?
An amount, no.
I think we're stayed right at $150,000.
I do, I think that you negotiate, talk to them, and whatever they work out, report back to us. Anytime.
Up
We
to
have to go.
150,000 from fund balance?
Yes.
All right, that motion's been made by Danny and seconded by Bill. Any more discussion?
He gets to go first.
I think he.
So,
I'm done.
I may have missed it, $150,000, that include in, the demolition and survey and all that. We're not gonna spend more than $150,000.
Correct.
Is that what you intended?
We might roll the demo into the, Talbot project, whenever they bring that equipment in, and they start to lay down and digging footers and take that, put it in a dumpster and haul it to the landfill.
Well, I know, but I'm saying $150,000, is that just for the property? Is that what you intended? So they were gonna have to more money to
We
demolish.
ain't coming back for money.
Huh?
We ain't coming back for money.
Who's gonna pay for
So,
the demolition?
We might roll that into to the addition at Talbot.
There's a contingency in the addition.
I understand, but still we're paying extra. So what I'm
Oh, yeah,
saying
yeah.
is, what I'm saying is, $150,000 includes, don't go nowhere else. Demolition, survey, all the rest of the deed, everything, we're not gonna spend more than $150,000 for the land and all the other things that go with it, is what I'm, demolition, everything. Is that what you intended, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
There might be some additional demo cost whenever we get, but that would come out of the Talbot renovation cost.
It was about this 150 that
I understand, site prep
Yeah,
is what you're talking about. But what I'm saying is, we're closing costs, like you said, surveys, we've got to tear the house down. And I think all that $150,000, if that's what you intended, then I'm fine with it. And then site prep, obviously, would come from somewhere else.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That what we're doing?
Correct.
I'll go ahead and vote and wait on the rest of it.
All right, any other discussion? Anything, Bill? All right then,
So, I just want to clarify what Commissioner Bradley was saying. That 150 is going to cover the survey, the title, all that kind of stuff, the purchase of the land, the house. But he's wanting it to also cover the demolition as well of the house.
Yes. But I didn't make a motion.
The demolition.
I was just asking a question, what did that $150,000 pay for?
The $150,000 I made a motion for would be buy the house, the survey, and the closing, not the demolition. The
There you
demolition
go.
will come from.
That would come after that.
Yeah, whenever we have equipment on site, we'll just roll it into the.
Right.
So
This
we
is
don't
just
have
for-
a.
This is just for the
yeah.
purchase,
Yes.
the surveys, whatever it takes to actually acquire the land.
Yeah, we don't currently have a bid on Talbot Elementary project. We don't even have a scope of work yet. So we could run this into the scope of work whenever they have that equipment there, and it would be much less of a cost than to just bring a company in to do this.
Right, right, yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I don't think that they're gonna go for that price, and now that would put that on the people we're buying it from,
Right.
into demoing it, you know, but as long as it doesn't include the demo, just the purchase and all the costs to purchase the land, then I'm okay with that. I just want to clarify before I.
Well, the whole thing, I was just asking.
Yeah, no,
clarification.
I got a
What
little
that
confused.
includes.
Yeah, I know, I just got a little
But if it's-
confused. I want to make sure.
If it doesn't include
not
demolition,
included
I'm
demo.
still fine with it.
The house we may move to his place so he can stay in the projects.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I might need a place to go.
He needs a chicken coop.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, has the house ever been updated, anything been updated in it? Does it still have all the original HVAC, the original paint, meaning asbestos, lead or anything like that? Because that would add to the demolition.
I'm sure there's probably a little bit of asbestos in there. So, lead, that doesn't concern me. The asbestos would be minimal. We didn't run into an issue at Rush Strong. There's nobody around.
The property's quite a ways from the main school too.
Yeah, it would not affect any of that. It'll be a summer type project, so, you're only talking about, golly, was it 1,500 square feet? So you're talking about a small space.
The one that we tore down at
You know.
Restaurant was built in 1940, and we run into very little there, no problems at all. on that.
Yeah, I don't know what the ductwork is, what the gypsum board is, but that'll be
We can
It'll
put that
be
into-
minimal.
We can put that into the total project scope of work and stuff. I mean, that'll take care
Oh,
of
yeah.
all of that.
yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I don't know how to say this, but would it be in order to ask Josh not to vote
I'm not going to.
on this, on the account? And I think that he understands, we understand, and everybody understands, knowing Josh, he wouldn't do anything out of order.
Right.
But it would be out of order to ask him not vote on this.
I was already going not to do it. Abstain on personal interest.
Thank you, Josh.
Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the move to use $150,000 from fund balance to purchase the property behind Talbot Elementary School, show by raising your right hand. That's 6 for, yeah. 6. I'm just doing it because I'm used to it. 601.
He won't even tell you the truth.
Yeah, and then 1 abstention on personal interest. So the motion passes 6-0 with 1 abstention. Alrighty. Alright. And then that brings us to number 6, Jefferson Elementary School.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to contract with Blankenship and Partners for the renovation of Jefferson Elementary School for a total project cost not to exceed $23,600,000.
Okay, you got this wrote down.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
point of order,
Yes.
please. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this,
He's not even voting,
but there's
not
a
even.
motion in force on Jefferson Elementary School, and this motion would be out of order, and I ask that you rule it out of order for that reason, because we have adopted Robert's Rules of Order, and it basically states in there that if a motion's in order, you can't take any more action on that. So the motion is in order, well, I think it was made by Danny in 2021, like March the 5th or something, and the motion was to build 1 new Jefferson Elementary School and remodel Piedmont. And then we interviewed, hired an architect, Lewis Group, motion was made to hire them, a construction manager. We got schematic drawings, and then from those drawings, we got a number, funding amount. So there's a motion in place concerning Jeff Elementary School. So this motion is out of order. So what happened, I've mentioned this before, what has to happen is that motion, a new Jefferson Elementary School needs to be put on the agenda, and if you want to rescind it or amend it or whatever, you can. But you gotta follow the rules. And by doing that, then, and, you know, it's a 7-day, we've set that precedent, you might say, of advertising. It needs to be advertised, because I've heard from a lot of you, you want more public input. Well, how can the public put input into this if we've already done away with it? Some people might want to come up to that podium and speak against this motion, say. And it was not, first of all, it was not on the, just Jefferson Elementary. If it had said Jefferson Elementary remodeling, you follow me, you got to be specific. But in my opinion, and it's my opinion, but you're the parliamentary, in my opinion, in the Robert's Rules of Order, that motion is out of order, because we have a motion that's in force.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak to that?
I'll let you speak on that, yes.
Now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. My take on this is has nothing to do with the new school. This has to do with the renovation. Therefore, the motion for a new school does not apply to this. The motion for a new school has been on the books for 3 to 4 years now. No action has been taken on the new school part of it, because that has to do with the new school and not with the renovation. It does not apply to this, so I don't think we need to rescind that motion.
Can I respond, sir?
Yes, sir, I'll let you do that. And then we're gonna move
It's the
forward.
same school, and it doesn't matter how long that motion's been on the book. It's the motion that's enforced, and it is enforced, and it has gone far enough. Now, if we had not hired an architect and they had not done schematic drawing and come up with an amount, then it would not be enforced, because we've made a motion in the past on building elementary schools, but we never followed it through. And other motions were made. But since we have, and Robert's Rules of Order, actually, if there's a motion in force, and then it is about the same school. It's still the same school.
But it's not.
Yeah, I know it's not,
It's not about the
but
same.
it's still the same school.
I disagree.
And there's a motion to build a new school.
And this is
And
a
you
motion to
can't,
remodel.
you can't
the
do
school.
anything else until that motion is gone.
I disagree.
So if we don't follow our rules and set an example of following Robert's Rules of Order, and let people come and speak and know what we're doing, then, you follow me? There's people probably would like to come and speak,
Jefferson,
but they had no knowledge of this motion being made tonight.
Jefferson Elementary was on our work session. We had nobody show up. Jefferson Elementary is on our business session. Nobody showed up. They've had ample time to come and speak.
This
if they want.
business session, and on here, it just simply says Jefferson Elementary School.
That's right. This has to
If
do
it had
with
said Jefferson Elementary School remodeling, or if it had a motion on here to rescind, I'm sure some of the people would have come. So Jefferson Elementary School, even I didn't know what's going to happen tonight. I got the agenda, I show up, you know, what's going to happen. So, but it's up to him to make a decision. I've called for point of order, and I asked him to rule this motion out of order, and that it be placed on the agenda at the next meeting, and you have to put the motion on there verbatim as it is in the minutes, and then we can vote it down, or rescind it, or amend it, or whatever. When I left the house, Carol said, "Don't say anything." You get those.
I hope, do you care to hold just one thing? to say?
I have a whole lot to say, but this motion is out of order completely. There is not a price on remodeling it, we don't even have a figure, we just have some figures that gave it to us. And you don't even have an exact figure as how much it takes to remodel it. I've heard so many people, so many comments. Our board is made up now of 4-3 vote regardless of what happens. Are we gonna sit back and take it that way? Are we gonna support the community, or are we gonna support the poor? That's the question.
Mr. Doug, you wanna?
Yeah, based upon that, I believe this would be more apt to be dealt with at a special called meeting, so I'll withdraw the motion.
Thank you.
All right, that motion's been withdrawn.
Short. This is a short review, but I do agree that it is different in that new and remodel. But in Robert Rules of Order, you were wanting to change an action voted on at an earlier meeting. So you're wanting to change the action of a new build to a renovation. And I do, just in 3 minutes, feel like that would take a rescinding of a current motion to change the action. Of course, I'll check with your attorney and just verify that. I'm sure. So I hate not having an answer, but I'll check on that just so we can be clear in everything. On, last thing we want to do is make a step that gets thrown out and not approved.
Well, then I would like to put on the next meeting we have, whether it's regular meeting or special call meeting, rescinding that action, that former action, and put on a motion for renovating Jefferson Elementary School.
Thank you for that. Is there anything else regarding
Yes,
this?
Mr. Hart.
Let me respond to what Commissioner Jarvinigan just said by actually stating a 4-3 siding when there hasn't been any kind of voting done on that. And that to me sounds a little bit out of order. That's to me that would almost be insinuating that he already knows what a vote would take place that hasn't been taking place yet too. And I think that we need to be careful about doing that kind of stuff in hopes of making people vote a certain way. So I'll leave it at that. I do understand what you're saying. I will just say though that when I spoke with the TSBA lawyer when I was out there in November, he said that motion can sit on the table and you never have to remove it. Because what you're doing is remodeling, which is considered a maintenance, which means that we can't do any maintenance on that if we decide to do nothing. Would be basically what I'm hearing is we'd be out of line to even go in and change windows or repair doors. I've got a list of all the stuff from 2020 on, and the very last thing in that list was a Piedmont remodel, which is under maintenance. So with that being said, I would, from what he told me was, if we remodeled it, that doesn't mean that down the line we still can't build a new, and that motion would be still there to build a new 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to rebuttal what he said. We don't have to make a motion or hire a construction manager or an architect to go in and change doors and windows, and that's something the maintenance department can do without any kind of action at all. You can call it what you want to call it, but when you go in there and totally remodel, then that motion that was made would require then us to interview architects or construction managers, schematic drawings, which we haven't seen. I've not really seen anything with 24/5. So that requires a motion. But to repair the building and just replace windows is not remodeling.
All right, we're just going.
It's been,
He's withdrawn it, I think,
Good. Now,
according to.
let me clarify what he asked, because what he asked to be put on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
So the motion has to be stated, the original motion. And you need to make sure you get the right one, first of all. The first motion, I don't have the dates, the first motion was made to build 2 new elementary schools, and it wasn't funded. And it wasn't funded because we hadn't hired an architect, had no schematic plans and no number, and I understood that. I didn't think it'd pass either. And I think, Mr. Martin, I'm not sure.
Not either, that's why I'm not.
Huh?
I'm not for sure either, that's why.
Yeah, I know, I'm saying, I mean, I didn't look this up beforehand, because I didn't know
Ms. Pinkham.
that remodeling motion would be made, or I'd have had more information. But sometime, I think it's March of 2021, somewhere in that time range, then we put that motion on the agenda, and then the motion was made to remodel Piedmont, never thinking that that would happen first, honestly, in my opinion. And we're trying to build Jefferson Elementary School. And that was the motion that was made. And then we proceeded through the interview process, construction manager, schematic drawings, and then got a quote, I think in 1905, and the board sent it to the county commission. That's the process.
Oh, okay.
I have the original motion right here. If you'd like to see it, you can see it. It was for $19,600,000 to be added to the $7 million from fund balance, with a total of 26.6. That motion was made at a special call meeting in June of 27. And for a person to sit here and say, let's buy a new car. We can get that new car for $26 million. I'd rather have this old one for 24. Let's think about it, man. I mean, I may have said things out of order. I apologize if I did. But think about what we're doing. I mean, $26 million to build a brand new building, but we're gonna buy a new car, buy an old car for $24 million. Some don't.
Did I make that motion or
I
not?
believe that was Commissioner Pinkham at the time, was it not?
I have 2 of them in here that was made. If you want me to read them both, I can read them all.
I'd rather just have a copy of that if I could.
I think Rhonda's got.
Yeah, we'll research, we'll gather.
You can go to the school website in under minutes and you can look it up. I
Well,
didn't know this motion was gonna be made, or I'd have had it already printed out for everybody.
Well, when I asked for them, I got March, April, June wasn't there, July wasn't there, August wasn't there, and then it was another one was made in September. So I'm missing 3 months in between those other ones, and I'm really having a hard time figuring out how we jumped from one all the way to something
Well,
else.
that's what I was telling you. The one you need to find is the one that just simply says, there's no dollar amount attached to it, is, and I don't know exactly how it's worded, is to remodel Piedmont and build a new Jefferson Elementary School. And there was no dollar amount attached to it at all. So, and it passed. So then we had to interview architects, construction managers, and schematic drawings. So the motion you're looking for, or Rhonda needs to look for, is that, just that motion that says remodel Piedmont and build a new Jeff Elementary, and there's no dollar amount of anything else attached to it.
But in the minutes, it doesn't exactly say the exact motion made. That's the problem that I have, and I asked for the
Yeah,
exact,
yeah.
that's, what I had asked for was the motion made. I'd like to see the motion made. I made that here and it was given out.
Hold on, everybody. Could be my wife. No, don't want to talk to them. I know what you're saying, and I'm
So,
telling you the
let-
motion.
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
what I had asked for was, what I wanted was the motion that was made, which one? Because you talked about 1 and 215, you said, which one? Well, we all thought there was only
Well,
one.
I told you
Well,
which one.
Okay, listen,
What I would like to know is the exact word-for-word motion that was made to make us, get us into the position we're at right now, so that we can decide to either rescind what she's put on there, or decide not to.
we
But I can't
will,
base-
okay,
Okay.
we will have those, we have a work session.
April 3rd.
No, we got a work session on March 24th. Then we have our business session on April 3rd, and then we've actually got a special call on April 10th. So, April 24th work session, those should be in the or March 24th session, that should be in the packet. You know, what you're requesting, you know, make sure you get it to the director, and that way it's in there. There can be some discussion about it then, and then whatever needs to be put on then for rescinding, that'll be plenty enough time to, it's 7 days, you gotta advertise, so that'd
That's
be
our
1, 2,
president
3,
said
4,
for 7
5,
days.
6, 7, yeah, that'd be plenty enough time, so,
Right.
you know, that'd take care of it, so. Any school commissioner input?
I would like to personally thank you from the depths of my heart for your all's attitude towards my brother and family. I really appreciate it.
I just like to say, Mr. Chairman, I'm not stirring the pot, don't get me wrong.
No, it's,
You know,
get
I
that
just
right,
feel
get that
like-
right.
You know, follow the rules, if that's what it is. If you, you know, if you'd have said no, the motion, good, then you're the man. But if we put this out there,
Yeah.
maybe it'll spark more interest. We'll have people come speak about remodeling. I don't know who wants what in Jefferson City. I've not heard anything. I don't know how to vote.
Danny?
I'd just like to say, Mr. Jernigan made a statement that no matter how it goes, it's 4-3. I know we're the ones that's been on the board the longest, I know that. I've only been on it 5 years. Sometimes I wish I hadn't been on it any. But anyway, you know, I don't have a problem at all to build this new school. I love City View, but I don't have a problem to remodel. Whichever way that I feel like we need to go, I'm for it. So it's not really 4-3, it's not really 5-2, it could be 7-0 if we work this right. So, you know, my heart's sitting here waiting to say, whichever way we need to go, I'd like to do it, whether it's remodel or build. So,
If I may.
One last time.
Well,
One last time.
I done spoke twice.
15 times.
Who's keeping count, right? I'd like to kind of defend Mr. Jernigan on his statement. I mean, I come in the meeting, I usually know the feel, the lay of the land, and who's gonna vote for what. You do too. I mean, you know, I don't deny it, you know, kind of have an idea of what's gonna happen. During the meeting, I feel like it's my job during the debate time to try to convince somebody that I think is going to go that way, and they come my way, you see. So that's how I approach a meeting. I think, who did I need to talk to during the meeting? Okay, that's just all I want to say about that is, if you don't count votes, then that's fine, but I do.
Almost, I'd hate to put Paul that in the
I don't get to speak again.
I don't know.
I would just like to say that I know this has been a very contentious subject, but for the 7 months, I think it's our 7th meeting now that I've been on, I feel like as a board, I think that we've handled it very well as far as debating it, even today. You know, I don't think anybody really has any hard feelings. We just have a lot of things we gotta deal with the Roberts Rule, the procedures. And the only thing that I was stating about his statement was that applies pressure to somebody in a certain way. I'm not saying it was towards Commissioner Martin. It might have been towards somebody else, but I'm just saying that putting that puts pressure towards somebody to vote a certain way, or could. And, but anyways, I just, you know, I want to appreciate that, show my appreciation that we can have a debate and not leave here with black eyes.
I'm sorry I made that comment. Take it any way you want to. I went to get my oil changed last week in Jefferson City. The remark was made, doesn't matter what kind of motion you made, said it's a 4-3 vote. I said, thank you, and walked away, and I take it as the person that said it, you want me to. And it hurts, I'm telling you, it hurts.
So he's saying that on the, cause let me see here. Just to clarify. He's saying that instead of it saying just Jefferson Elementary School, it needs to say Jefferson Elementary School and what else on the agenda?
Do what, ma'am?
He's
What,
saying
paying
that there
attention?
needs
You
to
asked
be a
me a
thing,
question?
needs to be on the next agenda, there needs to be an advertised motion to rescind, and then specifically something with Jefferson Elementary. So if you're wanting to do a remodel, Jefferson Elementary School, remodel or renovation, Jefferson Elementary School, new build, Jefferson Elementary School,
Under the new business.
yes.
So if that's the case, and I agree, I think that it should be more specific like that, I do. Why was it that last month when it was put on the agenda, it just said Jefferson Elementary School too?
Anyway,
Anyways, that's what I noticed, when I went to that meeting, I was like, what is this concerning?
Yeah.
Until way at the very end.
And
So
I'll
that
go.
was not specific either.
I'll go on the record to just clarify that. So I can help each of you out tremendously if you trust in me and give me information that you're gonna bring in front of this board. So if you, all I know is that, all I knew coming into this meeting was we were gonna discuss Jefferson Elementary School. So without knowledge of where, there again, you know, you don't need to talk to him and he doesn't need to talk to him, but you're welcome to talk to me with any concerns that you have on anything. And then Josh and I can get together as the executive committee and nail down exactly what's gonna be on there. We have a board attorney that's on retainer for a monthly fee that we can go and bring this in front of him and get information. So we can get this taken care of, any direction you want to go, just like whenever we talked about contracts and clearing that up. Sometimes it's not about what I get information from you, and then I ask the board attorney, and I have to ask it in the exact right way to get the information that we need. So the first time I asked him, he was anticipating that the contract was, is it still good? And not, can we get out of it? So the second time I asked him, I got a different answer based on how I asked him. And so just know that if you need anything, myself and Rhonda will move the moon and earth to get you what you need to make a decision and for it to be, you know, on par with Robert's Rules of Order or anything of that nature.
I would love to see the agenda be more specific, just like that. Because last month, I was confused on what we were supposed to be doing with Jefferson Elementary. I saw it on there, I had no idea what we were gonna be doing at all. I would like to see specifics too. So,
Mr. Chairman, I know I'm limited, but I think she asked me a question before last month.
well, I was kind of asking.
Well, let me,
Well, I answered it for her.
last month it said Jefferson Elementary School on it, right? You are correct.
I'm looking
But
at it.
what motion was enforced? There was only one motion in place at that time, and that was to build a new school. So I had the right to make the motion because that was on there, and that was the only motion that's still enforced. And now, if there hadn't been another motion, then it hadn't been advertised that I was gonna make a motion to build a new school, then I would have been out of order.
Well, that's fine, but I would have loved to see more specific information on the agenda for that, that's all.
We can only post what we have
Yeah,
to go by.
can I say one more thing for?
Yes,
Commissioner?
we.
Which is on a lighter note and not related to Jefferson Elementary School. So, it was, what was it, Tuesday? I came to the bus garage,
Yes.
Monday or Tuesday, one of the two, to review the curriculum materials that are up for adoption. And I went through and a couple other people came and we all went through all of the different curriculum providers that were there. And I gotta say, I was really, really impressed with the McGraw-Hill curriculum provider. That was actually, to me, it looks like a very well-rounded curriculum for, I think is that also for elementary? Yeah, elementary. I loved it for middle school. I loved it for the high school physics and chemistry part of it. And for the high school biology part, the curriculum committee, from what I understand, is leaning towards the Kendall Hunt curriculum provider, which I took a look through that too, and I gotta say they're on the right path with that. I could get behind that easily, and of course McGraw-Hill, I think that those are fantastic curriculums, and they would really well round out our kids. Yeah.
I move we adjourn.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor?
I will use it.